So I'm on a mission to revive the MegaMan NT Warrior TCG. Never heard of it? Stick around to find out more.
If you're a fan of the channel, consider supporting me on Patreon. For as little as $1 per month, you can help me continue to bring you premier, unmatched content. Unlock exclusive rewards by becoming a patron today.
What's up guys, Zero Skater here, and that's right, today we are doing something a little bit different. So I recently got back into the MegaMan NT Warrior trading card game by Decipher. Now this is a very old game from around 2005 or so, and it's long since dead, but I stumbled upon a little Discord community who still actively plays this game online. And they hosted a tournament which I entered and I just had a blast. And so I've been really enjoying this game a lot lately, and the tournament and the little community I found kind of sparked my excitement again for this game and made me start to think, you know, this game has a lot of potential. It's such a good game, similar to Unmatched. It's very easy to learn but hard to master. And it's got something that Unmatched is missing, being a TCG, a trading card game. It has deck building, and that is just so much fun, in my opinion, to sit down and come up with all kinds of crazy ideas and test them out and see how they do in gameplay. Whereas in Unmatched, you're set with a preset deck, and in the Mega Man card game here, you get to build whatever the heck you want. And there's only 3 sets released, but there's actually a lot of cards and a lot of unique strategies you can come up with just based on those 3 sets. And the Discord community, they also are working on custom cards. So if you're interested in that, they do a lot of playtesting before they release these cards. They kind of have a card review team. So they put out quality customs, and so that it kind of gives more of a future to the game if you're interested in new content. But even just with the base game, those 3 sets that they released, like I said, there's just so much you can do with those cards, and it's so much fun. So what I want to do today is I want to release a how to play video explaining the mechanics of the game and how to play, and kind of give you some more information about the online platforms that you can use to play this game, because a user by the name Lord Janksko created a browser-based website to play this game that is totally free for anybody. And it reminds me a lot of League and what Frank did with that, and it's just incredible. So it's really promising to see another great website for this game in particular, as well as they have an amazing TTS table that they programmed by a user named Adele. He created a really nice kind of automated tournament table for the Mega Man game, as well as a deck building table that has all the cards available. So if you have TTS, you can jump in really easy and get into the game that way. So a couple of great options that I want to showcase, but of course I'm going to teach you how to play the game first and show you what this is all about. And overall, just my goal is to hopefully grow a bigger community, a competitive scene for the game, kind of like we did with Unmatched. And don't worry, Unmatched is not going anywhere. I'm not quitting Unmatched. I'm not putting Unmatched on the back burner. It's just I've been having a lot of fun with this game, and I would love to get you guys involved in it as well, to join the community and see where we can go with this thing, because I think there's a lot of potential. And even if you guys don't actually get into the game and play yourself, hopefully you still are able to learn about the game here and maybe follow along with any future content I release on this game, and just enjoy watching, you know, as a spectator, even if you're not actively playing. So that I would really appreciate, you know, if you guys would help support me here in my little side project, we'll say, and I'm just really excited to try it out and see how it goes. But as always, guys, be sure to blast that like button if you enjoy the video, and subscribe for more Zero Skater content. And with that said, let's jump on over and check out the Mega Man NT Warrior trading card game.
Alright, so here we are on battle-network.com. This is the website I mentioned, and I will have a link in the description below, as well as a link for the Discord server. And if you have any interest in this game, please, I encourage you to join the Discord. There's plenty of helpful information to be found in there, such as links to this website, as well as the downloads for the TTS tables and all that good stuff. So go ahead and join if you're interested. Now, what is this game all about, you might ask? Well, it's a strategic card game where both players will bring their own unique, custom-crafted deck and battle against each other. And you have your Net Navi, and you are going to be buffing the stats of your Net Navi to deal damage to the opponent. And your deck is also known as your energy, which is your life. So once the deck runs out, then you lose. But let's go ahead and talk about the different types of cards in this game. So there's 4 different types of cards. That's going to be your Net Navi card, and then you have resources, you have events, and you have battle chips. So only 4 different types of cards, pretty simple. We'll first start talking about the Navi card. So in this case, our Net Navi is MegaMan, and his stat line is 222. So SDB is Strength, Defense, and Blast. So MegaMan is the Net Warrior there, and if you look in his top right corner, there is his Navi emblem that represents him as a Navi. So both players are going to have a deck of 60 cards, including their Net Navi card, so 59 others in the deck, and you're going to be battling each other and see who can defeat the other first. And the cool thing about this game is that your deck is your life, essentially. So as you take damage, you're losing cards from your deck. Once your deck runs out, you lose the game. So very similar to Unmatched, because in Unmatched, once your deck runs out, you don't necessarily lose instantly, but you're likely to lose shortly after in exhaustion. But in this game, as soon as that last card leaves your deck, by any means, you lose the game. So there's kind of a fun dynamic of, drawing cards and all this stuff where it benefits you, but it's also harming you at the same time. So let's talk about the other types of cards. So the first being Resource. That's one of the most common and most important cards to talk about. So towards the middle of the card, you can see it says Resource there. Up at the top is the name. This one is called Rich Kid. And if you look in the box, it says spend burn a power to recharge 2 energy. That is this resource's effect. So resources, you put them into play, but then you don't actually resolve their effects until you choose to spend them. So spending a resource is just putting it into the discard pile after you resolve their effects. So you say, I'm going to spend this resource, you're going to resolve the effect, and then it's going to go to discard pile. Now sometimes, if you look at this next resource called Superior Technique, it has requirements. So in this case, if you look to the right of where it says resource, there is a MegaMan Navi emblem there. That means you have to have one MegaMan Navi card in play in order to put this in play. So the Net Navi itself fulfills that requirement because up at the top right, there's the Navi emblem right there. So this can only be played in a MegaMan deck. And every Navi has their own unique cards that, gives them something special. So in this case, you spend, discard 2 cards to add 5 to your Blast Destiny. Again, we'll get into these mechanics in just a bit, but I'm just want to talk about the requirements of these cards and the different types. So you just got to have the MegaMan Navi in order to put this into play. That's it. If you look at the next one, called Worthy Opponent, you can see under where it says Resource, there's 2 yellow bars. That represents your power. So to play this card, you have to have 2 power first in order to put this into play. Once it's in play, you can spend it at any time, even if you no longer have the 2 power, but this is similar to a mana cost if you play Hearthstone at all, if you're familiar. So the power requirement right there is 2. And now if you look at this next type of card, it's an event, as indicated towards the middle, it says event. Underneath, it has the 2 power requirement, similar to the previous card. But if you look towards the right, it has a green triangle. So resources help sit on the board to fulfill requirements in order to play other cards like events and battle chips. So this one you have to have 1 green resource in play as well as the 2 power in order to play this. Now, unlike resources, events, you play them, you resolve their effect, and then they go to the discard pile right away. They do not remain on the board. So in this case, Uncommon Net Battler just draws you 2 cards, and that is it. And then if you look at our next type, the battle chip, those are the gray cards. This one is Laser Blast, and you need 3 power in order to play Laser Blast, as well as 2 red resources indicated by the 2 red triangles. And then this one simply makes your Net Navi strength +5. And again, we'll talk more about what that means in just a bit. But I want you guys to just know the different types of cards, being your Net Navi card, which you play 1 of, and then you have 59 other cards in your deck, consisting of a combination of resources, events, and battle chips. And each card has its own requirements, whether it be Navi emblems, power, or a combination of color, power, Navi emblems. It can have any combination of these requirements. As long as you know all of those basics, you'll be good to go. So next, let's go ahead and talk about kind of the flow of the game and how that all works. So to determine who goes first, you're going to shuffle up your deck, and then you're going to flip it over. So in this case, I'm just going to drag a card to the discard pile, and we see this Rock Cube Battle Chip. Now, I want you to look at the top right corner of the card, and you see a number 2. That number is its destiny number. Now, every card, resource, event, and battle chip has a destiny number. The only ones that don't are the Navi cards. Now, destiny numbers are used for multiple different things whenever cards or text refer to them. But in this case, I got a 2. Now, if my opponent flips a card with a higher destiny, then they will go first. If it's the same destiny, then you'll shuffle up and pull another card. So that just kind of helps. It's an easy way, real quick way to help determine who goes first at the start. So let's pretend that I won and I get to go first. So I'll shuffle up, and to start the game, you're going to draw 4 cards. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, the different phases of the game are as follows. You first start with the draw phase. After the draw phase, you'll go to resource phase. Then you have main phase, and then you have battle phase. So in the draw phase, you're going to essentially draw a card. In the resource phase, you put down resources. In the main phase is when most actions occur, being playing your cards mostly. And then the battle phase is where you calculate damage and then play passes to your opponent. So let's talk about first the draw phase. So I have my opening hand of 4. In the draw phase, you're going to do 3 different things in this order. You're going to power up, you're going to draw, and you're going to discard down. So powering up means to load up your power gauge here. As you can see, power 1 through 5, right? And then you have your resource slots above. We'll get to that in a minute, but you're going to take the top card of your deck and you're going to put it in the first open slot of your power gauge. So in this case, first turn is going to be power slot number 1. So I powered up, and then I'm going to draw. Now you do not get to look at the card that you power up. It's essentially random. And then I drew my card, and then I have to discard down. So if you have more than 5 cards, which is the hand limit, you have to discard down to 5 during that step of the draw phase. So in this case, at the beginning of the game, I'm going to have my 5. It's not over the limit. I'm good to go into resource phase because I powered up, I drew, and then discard down does not apply in this case. So resource phase, you're going to be able to put down any number of resources that you want from your hand into available open resource slots next to your Navi card there. So in this case, looking at my hand, I have a couple of them I can play. So I can put down Rich Kid because it has no requirements. So I'll do that. And then Power Pastries here is also a free-to-play resource because it has no requirements. So I will put that into play as well. Now it doesn't really matter which resource slots you utilize. So don't worry about that too much. Then I cannot put down Worthy Opponent because I don't have the 2 power yet. So I have not met the requirements to put that resource into play. So that one's off limits. But I've put down 2 resources, then we'll move on to the main phase. So in the main phase is when most things occur, like I mentioned. Your options are going to be spending resources, playing events, playing battle chips, or blasting. Now we already talked a little bit about the resources and whatnot. So to spend a resource means to complete the card text and then put it into the discard pile. And then to play an event, again, you just play it, you complete the text, put it to the discard, and battle chips, similar to events, you complete the text and put it to the discard. Only thing to note is that battle chips can only be played 1 time per turn, and events can be played as many as you want in a turn. So there's a natural limit of once a turn on battle chips. Keep that in mind. Then blasting is the last thing that we didn't really talk about that is an option for you to do in your main phase. So if you look at your Navi card, his blast value is 2 for Mega Man here. And so that means I would flip over the 2 rightmost cards in my power gauge, and I would look at their destiny numbers. I would pick one of them, and that would create my blast destiny. And blast destiny is added to your strength. Now any stat buffs revert back to normal at the end of the turn. So it's not ongoing, it's only for that turn. But, so if I blasted a destiny of 4, I would add 4 to my strength and make me a 6 for that turn. So other things in the main phase, it's going to pass play back and forth. So if I go put down my resources here and then I do not want to spend them, then I'll just pass opportunity to act to my opponent. So I'll say pass. Now the opponent can do any of the things that I can do in main phase except for blasting. You cannot blast on your opponent's turn. but they could spend resources, play events, or play battle chips. Now, if they pass as well, because they don't want to do any of those, then it will end the main phase and proceed to the battle phase, because the main phase ends as soon as there are 2 consecutive passes in a row from you and your opponent. So, if you pass your opportunity and your opponent passes, then you don't get another opportunity to do something. That's it. It'll go to the battle phase, where you're just going to calculate your strength minus the opponent's defense, and that will be the amount of damage dealt. And when you take damage, you lose energy, which means taking the cards off the top of your deck equal to the damage dealt. So if I have to lose 4 energy, I would take the top 4 cards from my deck and put them to the discard pile as damage. Then it would go back to the next player, and so let's say the opponent goes, they dealt the 4, now it's back to me. So again, it starts with draw phase. So I'm going to first power up, then draw, and then discard down if I had more than 5, which I do not. Then it will go to resource phase. Do I have any resources that I can put into play? Well, yes, I do. I could put down It's Not Over Yet. I could also put down Worthy Opponent, because now I have the 2 power requirement for this. And this one's a free to play with no requirement, so I'll put that into play as well. And then it will go to the main phase. And I have a lot of options here. I have 4 different resources I could spend. I also have a couple of battle chips in my hand. I could choose to play one of them. But if you look at something like Area Steel here, it says burn a power to make your strength +2. You may play an additional battle chip, so that bypasses the natural rule of 1 battle chip per turn because of the card text. Now, when it talks about burning power, that means to lose the rightmost card of your power gauge. So power, again, is kind of like mana from Hearthstone, so it's kind of setting you back on tempo and cards that you can play, but you get, benefits for doing so. Now, in this case, though, I'm up to 2 power, so if I wanted to, I could blast, because my blast is 2. So let's say I want to blast, right? So I'm going to blast, and I'll flip over both of these cards. In this case, I'm just going to drag them to the discard pile, and I'm going to look at the destiny number up in the corner while I do that. So Worthy Opponent's only a 1. This next card is Uncommon Net Battle, that's a 3. So I'm going to pick the 3 destiny, so I'll add 3 to my strength. So my current strength would then be 5. And my current blast destiny is a 3. Now, there are cards like these resources I have in play that modify Blast Destiny. You cannot use these if you don't currently have a Blast Destiny, so you'd only be able to use these after you've blasted in a turn. And so in this case, I can spend this, add 1 to my Blast Destiny. So let's say I blasted. Now my opponent has an opportunity to respond with whatever action they want to do. If they say pass, then it goes back to me. So let's say I spend Power Pastry. I add 1 to my Blast Destiny. So that 3 that I pulled from Uncommon Net Battler now is essentially a 4. So I'm up to 6 strength. Now it's back to the opponent to do something. If they pass, let's say I spend Worthy Opponent, which is add 2 to your Blast Destiny. So now my Blast Destiny is up to a 6, which means my strength is at an 8. They pass again. Well, I'm going to play my Cannonball Battle Chip because it only takes 1 green resource in play and no power requirement. So even though I have no power, I do have the greens. So I can discard a card to make your Net Navi strength +4. So I'll put that in play. I'll discard my card, and I'm strength +4. So now I'm up to a 12 strength total. Pretty dang big. Now I did use 2 of my resources, 2 cards in hand, and 2 power to do that. So it was pretty costly, but I got up to 12 strength, and then if my opponent's defense is only a 2, like MegaMan's here, then they're going to lose 10 energy at the end of this turn. So I played my Cannonball. They can respond if they pass. Now I'm satisfied, so I will say pass, which makes 2 consecutive passes, and then it will go to the battle phase where I will deal my damage and they will lose energy. And that's pretty much how the game goes. It's just going to pass back and forth turns, your turn, your opponent's turn. Remember, during the main phase, you always have to pass priority back and forth to each other to see if you want to react. Now, there's no chaining or anything of the sort like in Yu-Gi-Oh! So everything that happens, like each action that's taken in the main phase, fully resolves its card effect, and then the opponent can do something about it. There's no interruptions in this game. So it's pretty simple. It'll pass back and forth until one player loses all the cards in their deck, and then they are the loser. Some different mechanics. We talked about burning power. We talked about blasting. We talked about powering up. There's also recharging. So if you look at Rich Kid here, it says burn a power to recharge 2 energy. and in parentheses, recharge an energy by placing a random card from your discard pile beneath your deck. So recharging is essentially healing, because you're going to shuffle up your discard pile, and you're going to put however many random cards it tells you to recharge on the bottom of your deck, which is increasing your deck size and thus your life. So recharge is pretty cool. Let's see, the other thing is losing energy. Like I talked about losing energy during combat, but there are also card effects that make you lose energy or make your opponent lose energy. And just remember that losing energy is losing cards off the top of your deck equal to the amount of energy it tells you to lose. And just a couple other points I want to make real quick are that resources, you can only have one of the same resource in play at a time. Now your opponent could also have that same resource on their board, but you can only have one of each on your own board. The one exception is a special type of resource called viruses, and viruses are stated on the card that they're a virus, and you can have more than one on the board at a time. And also they're really cool because when you play the first one, you can search your deck for other copies of that virus and then put them into play as well. So they flood the board really quickly, and they're a cool, unique mechanic there. But regularly, you can only have one resource of the same type in play at a time. And then remember that blasting also you can only do once per turn, similar to battle chips, and only during your own turn. So you could play a battle chip on your own turn and a battle chip on your opponent's turn, but you can only blast on your turn. But both of those types of actions are once per turn. Now that you know how to play, I just want to show off the website very briefly. So this is the home page. You can make an account and log in, and then you can get going here. If you look at the tabs up at the top, you can click cards to view all the cards in the game. And it's just awesome to look through and see all this, and you can search everything. You can search by name, search by expansion, by type, being, Net Navi, Battle Chip, Event, Resource. You can search by a Navi emblem, by different color, or even by power requirement or rarity. So a lot of different search fields. And then you can go to the deck builder here, and you can see all of your decks that you've made. You can scroll down and see starter decks that are official starter decks. And then you can see public decks, which is really cool because you can make a deck public so that anybody can view it. And then I know down here you can see copy this deck, so you can actually put it into your decks and save it and then play with somebody else's deck. So if you're more into just getting into the game and playing, and you want to play at a competitive level, you can just copy some deck lists and play with those and have a blast. And if you're looking to get creative with it and actually dive a little deeper and get into the deck building, then you can do that, and it's just super fun. It's a great deck building tool on here, and I'll probably make another video about how to build a deck and whatnot at a later date, but I just wanted to show this off because this is just a great resource here. And the starter decks are great to play some very simple games just as your first couple of games to get used to the flow of the game and how everything works. So I highly recommend using the starter decks. And then if you go to the play tab, then you can actually you have the title of your new game, you can see other games that are in progress, and then you click here to select your deck. So if you want to select one of the starter decks, just jump in and start playing. Go ahead and select MegaMan Starter, which was the one I was showing off. You can allow spectators, you can play alone. Even if you want to just run test hands, you can just click the play alone option. But once you get everything ready, hit create. And this is going to wait for opponent, so it's going to wait for somebody to join. But if I cancel that and hit play alone, then it's going to take me into the play table that we were on before. It's going to look a little bit different because it's more expanded, because now you have a section for your opponent as well. I was just zoomed in on my section. But over here you can chat message, you can use these couple buttons here for your blasting, or like if you need to lose energy, take a lot of damage at once, like let's say I take 20 all at once, boom, took 20 away. If I want to recharge all that, type in the 20, recharge that, bam, it's back into the deck. Everything's like kind of automated there. If you need to search the deck, just click it, hit search. It's going to bring up your deck here, and you can select cards, and like down here, move selected cards from deck to your hand. You can even check this box to make it auto shuffle once you do so. So if I do that, it's in my hand. You just kind of click and drag things to play. So this is your hand area. You just drag it over there, drag it to the discard pile, drag over to power up. You can power up here. You can drag stuff to your hand. You can put your resources in play. It won't let you put a second copy of the same resource unless it's a virus. So that's all pre-programmed. It's really nice. So huge credit to Lord Janksko for creating this website. It's just a fantastic tool. I can't praise it enough. But then if we leave here and we go to the rules tab, you can have the official Decipher rulebook here in a PDF form. So if you missed anything from this video or you want to just read up on it yourself, here's the official rulebook you can check out. You can also click down here, the corrections PDF. It has official rulings document from way back in 2005 from Decipher. So if you want to read up on some more niche interactions there, it's a little more advanced stuff with the rulings. But this is just a fantastic website here. And one type, if you click level up, I didn't mention those, but essentially back in the day you'd get these from entering tournaments, and nowadays for like competitive play, you are allotted a side deck of a certain number of level up cards. Currently it was 6 at the moment, and those are just utilized to play certain other powerful cards. So the first one I can think of off the top of my head is Infamous Dr. Wily. You spend 3 level up cards, discard a card to make your opponent discard his or her hand. So an incredibly powerful card here, but you have to spend 3 level up cards to do it. So like I mentioned, if we're playing with a 6 card level up side deck, that means you can play 2 of these cards in a given game, because each time you play it's going to spend 3 out of your 6 level up cards. And there's some other cards that involve the level up cards, so I just wanted to make note of that as well real quick if you come across those while you're just looking through the cards here. But yeah, there's everything you pretty much could need in order to jump into the game, all for free on this website here, just battle-network.com. Again, I will put the link in the description below. And then I also wanted to highlight this awesome TTS table made by Adele. So this is really impressive. Everything's laid out really nice here. So if you just change your color, we'll go blue, then it's going to allow me to use all these buttons that are pre-programmed to do everything. So you can save custom, decks in here. So I have a folder for MegaMan decks. Let's just say I pull out, I don't know, this Torchman deck, or no, I pulled out Snake Man, whatever. So you put your deck over here. These are the level up cards like I mentioned. You can just kind of spread them out. Put your Navi down here. Everything snaps real nice. So flip the deck, shuffle it up. There's my Destiny 3 to see who goes first. Flip it, shuffle. When you're ready to start, you can hit this opening hand button. It'll automatically draw the 4. Then you can go ahead and, power up 1, draw 1, and put stuff into play here. And then, if you have to lose energy, let's say I lose 3 energy, 1, 2, 3, or there's a lose 5, which will do 5 all at once, or a lose 10, or if I need to draw, power up 1, 2, or 3, so if I power up twice for whatever reason, it'll do both. Let's say I have to draw 5, click that. You can recharge as well, so recharge 3, recharge 2, recharge 1, does it all automatically. So this is really nice. It makes it super easy to play. And I know a lot of you guys watching are very familiar with TTS already, as well as there's blast buttons here. So my blast is a 2 on Snake Man. So if I hit the blast 2, it's going to flip over the rightmost 2, and then I can hit burn as well. So you can burn power. It's just really nice to have everything automated on here. So again, a lot of you use TTS. Check out the TTS table. We can also switch over here and go to the deck building table. So this has all the cards released, as well as I had mentioned there are customs created for this game. So here's a pile of some of the custom cards and some of the decks of custom Navis. So anything, if you look on it, that has an AD at the bottom of the card, it says AD 82 on this one. That is a custom card made by Adele. So again, big props to him and the card creation team, whoever's all a part of that. They do great work. So it's just super cool to have this table, and here's all of your Navis with the Navi specific cards in them that you can check out. And then here are all the red resources, blue, yellow, green, so it's all sorted really nice. Here are the different color events, and then here are battle chips that require different colors, and then some of those level up cards, and then there can be some banned cards depending on if you're playing with a ban list or not. The little community kind of collectively came up with a couple of cards to ban to make it more fun and balanced. So this is just another fantastic table for getting to create your decks, and then you can bring them on over to the play table and play with everything automated. So if you have TTS, go ahead and get these downloaded. They're super helpful. And otherwise, if you want to play on the website, that is fantastic as well, which is free, which is the best part. TTS, you got to pay a one-time fee of about $20 usually. Sometimes you find it on sale, but great stuff here. So big thanks to everybody involved in making both of these platforms accessible to everybody and bringing this game to the masses.
And there you have it, guys. That's it for the Mega Man trading card game. And I hope my explanation was thorough enough that you got a solid grasp on how to play and how the game works and how you are able to jump in yourself, but also short enough to keep your interest in something that might be a bit of a niche topic. But again, I'm hoping to grow the community and get more people involved so we can all have people to play with and just have a blast with a really cool game. And again, if you want to jump in and you just want to play, there is another great website where they have a bunch of high quality like tournament deck lists. So if you just want to be a player, you can just net deck those and just have a blast playing. Or if you want to jump in and get creative with deck building, you can do that as well. So I think there's kind of a space for everybody within this game to really get into and enjoy. So even if you don't actively get into the game and start playing, again, I hope that you will enjoy this content that I bring to you guys and at least be able to follow along and have some interest in it, because it's a great game. If you get into it, I think you will enjoy it. I've already, gotten Chad into this game a bit, and I'm working on getting some other prominent unmatched community members into the game as well. And so we'll see where it goes from here. But again, it's just a fun little side project. I've been having a blast doing everything with this game, deck building and playing in that little tournament that I played in. And I would love if we can grow the tournament scene and really make it something bigger, and maybe we can get 645 development in on it to really make a grand finale kind of stream layout for this game. We'll see. No promises on that, but I'm just really curious to see where this will go. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and please leave comments down below what you think of this video, what you think about this game. Are you interested at all? Would you like to see more content from this, or do you want nothing to do with it? I mean, just be honest with me. Please let me know down in the comments what you all think. I would love to hear from you. And again, don't worry, there's going to be more unmatched content coming up soon, including a tier list video that I know a lot of you have been waiting for. So thank you all so much for watching. I'm ZeroSkater12, and I will see you next time.